Good morning, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. We're here for a WIP and chat. I haven't done one in a little while, quite frankly, because I only have so many interesting things in my life to talk about, but I'm excited to be here with you today. I am working on my current WIP, which is Christmas Cabin, and I'd like to show you the area I'm going to be working on. So I finished kind of the top 2 rows, and then I finished a couple rows on the side. So right now I'm working just above this chair and kind of to the edge of the fire. So I'm doing, planning to do like three squares of the perforated squares at a time because the colors are kind of similar. So we shall see if that goes a little bit faster because of that. I'm gonna start with, I guess I should have gotten that before I sat down. Let's see. I'm gonna start with N, which is like this light blue color. And I have a lot to talk about today, which is odd because 2025 did not start out how I had planned at all, unfortunately. So we're going to talk about that, and probably not a ton about diamond paintings, so that I don't keep you here for forever. But yeah, so I was supposed to go on a vacation leaving on New Year's Day, and we were going to go to Las Vegas. I had actually talked about it in a prior WIP and chat, if you all saw that, but that did not end up happening, unfortunately. On I think it was like the 28th of December, maybe the 27th. It was a Friday, I know that. And we were supposed to leave to go to Vegas on Wednesday. And we had a trip planned to Las Vegas last Christmas, which we had to cancel because my husband's job, he had gotten a promotion, and his boss decided that because he was the low man at that level that he needed to work over Christmas. And so we had to cancel. And I never buy trip insurance on planes because I don't have any kids. I don't know. I block off at my work where I don't have anything going on. So it's just really never been an issue. But it was an issue last year because we donated however much money those flights were to American Airlines. And it was an issue this year, unfortunately. So again, this year, I think it was the 27th of December, my husband tells me that he thinks he needs to go to the hospital. And I'm like, why? Hold on, let me get a sip of my coffee. It's pretty early here. Why do you need to go to the hospital? And he tells me that he is seeing a lot of floaters in his left eye. And he normally has a few floaters, but this is a significantly higher amount, and that he's seeing a curtain down the bottom of his eye where it just looks all black. And he actually had an appointment at the eye doctor scheduled for the following day, for Saturday. So he was like, it's probably okay. I could probably just wait and figure out what's going on then. And so I work as an attorney, and I defend companies and trucking companies in car accident cases. And so I'm not in the medical profession. I don't claim to have a lot of medical knowledge. I usually know enough to be dangerous in whatever case I'm working on, because I have to learn some of it from a doctor that is hired to review a case. Wow, these are not straight. But I had a case a couple years ago, and I learned some things that these symptoms sounded very familiar to. So what I had learned was, and what my kind of hypothesis was that my husband was having or was about to have, or was having a detachment of his retina. And I had had a car accident case where a plaintiff claimed that they were suffering from a detached retina themselves. And so I had talked to a doctor about, is that possible? Does that happen in car accidents? Is that typically degenerative, or it happens over time? And I knew because I deposed this person, I knew what their symptoms were when they had a detached retina, and what the surgery was they had to go through, and how their recovery was. So I immediately said, well, no, we need to go now to the eye doctor, because you might have a detached retina. And so he called the eye doctor that he had the appointment at the following day, and it's like 3 o'clock on a Friday. On the Friday between Christmas and New Year's. And he tells them what's going on and asks if they can get him in. And they say, no, but another branch if you're familiar with Texas, we're in Texas, in the North Fort Worth area, says no, but the Roanoke location might be able to get you in. So I have a bit of a problem with that response, not because they couldn't see him, it was Friday afternoon, they could have been totally booked already. But my problem is they didn't tell him how important it was to go immediately to seek treatment. They just said, no, we can't see you. Try this place. And if I would not have had an inkling as to what was going on, it would have been a pretty big problem. So we called the Roanoke location, and when my husband told them what was going on, they said, you need to come here immediately. How soon can you get here? So my husband's like, probably within 20 minutes. And so I normally don't go with my husband to appointments, but I figured they're probably going to need to dilate his eyes. In my mind, I'm thinking he's starting to have a detached retina, but they're probably going to need to laser it to stop the detachment, or they're going to patch it, or that's what I was thinking. Turns out I was not correct about that, which is why I do not claim to have, I don't claim to know a ton about medical issues. But so we went to this other eye doctor, and they immediately got him in, did a test and looked at him, and the eye doctor comes in and says, yeah, he's definitely got a detached retina. I have called a retinal surgeon. They're keeping, because by now it's like 4 o'clock on the Friday between Christmas and New Year's. So, not exactly the day of the year that most people are trying to stay late for work. So the eye doctor said, I called a retinal surgeon. You need to go there right now. They're keeping the office open for you. So it's never kind of a great feeling when you're told that the situation is so dire that they're going to keep a medical office open for you on a Friday night. But I'm obviously very grateful that they did, because they could have easily kind of taken the route of that first medical office and said, kind of, sorry, not sorry, we've got to go home, it's Friday. So we drive to this next, to this retinal surgeon. We can't find it. I start backing up to backtrack, somehow don't see a car behind me and almost get in an accident there. Luckily they honked. It completely would have been my fault. But I was, distracted. And so we go to the retinal surgeon, and she tells him that, he's got some options, but it's all going to include a vitrectomy, which is a surgery where they repair your retinal tear, and they put a gas bubble in your eye. I'm not sure what gas it is, but they put a gas bubble in your eye, and you have to Okay, some more coffee. Thank you. So they put a gas bubble in your eye, and you have to spend the first 72 hours after the surgery upright but looking down. So you, like, if you picture sitting at this table, you could sit at a chair, but you need to, like when you were a kid in elementary school, how you used to put your head down, you put your head down but face down. And keeping your head, like your nose down, keeps the bubble in the right spot, apparently. So, and you absolutely can't, you cannot lay on your back. You cannot, you can't, and you can take one break for 10 minutes every hour from this position. And so, as you can probably guess, it's not real easy to sleep. So you're basically not sleeping for 3 days. And you can't bend at the waist, you can't pick up anything. So the surgeon's like, well, I can, my team isn't necessarily going to be able to be there if we do a surgery tonight, because by now it's like 6 p.m. on a Friday night. So the options are we could do an emergency surgery, and whoever shows up at the hospital shows up to assist me. And it matters who assists me because these are, I'm used to my team. Or we could schedule the surgery for Monday, and you need to spend the entire weekend I guess it would have been, I think it would have been on his back at that point, because I'm not sure about this, but basically he would have been able to do nothing, and he would have had to like lay pretty still in whatever position she advised all weekend. And so my husband is pretty incapable of staying in any position for a significant amount of time. I mean, what I told the doctor was he's not been diagnosed with ADD, but it really wouldn't shock me. And I think he's gonna probably go insane if he has to sit there. In addition, he wanted to get it fixed, because what she told us is if you would have waited much longer to come to see me, you could lose your vision. So knowing that you could lose your vision is not something that you want to mess around with. You don't want to wait, right? So we decided, okay, let's go ahead and have the surgery done tonight. And so we still hadn't gone home. We left the house maybe at like 3:10 p.m. that Friday. It's now 6. She says, okay, I need you to drive to the hospital. I'll meet you there. She was kind of, you could tell she would have preferred for us to do the surgery on Monday, because she had worked a full day and she was tired, and I understand that. And there's also something in your brain that's like, do I want this surgeon working on my husband's eye when she's been working all day? She's probably tired, and the surgery isn't going to start until 9 p.m. But again, we kind of weighed things and decided like we'd rather just take care of it right away so that he could start the recovery process. I don't know why the middle drill is not coming off of my multi-placer, but it's super annoying. And here's the kicker to all of this surgery. Because you have a gas bubble inserted in your retina or in your eye, you're not allowed to fly for 2 months, and you're not allowed to drive for 2 months. So we were supposed to go to Las Vegas. So obviously that was canceled again, which was super disappointing. Made another donation to American Airlines for, I don't know, probably $1,200. And I had spent hours planning that vacation. I had made a reservation for dinner for every single night. We were going to stay at the Wynn, which is, it's a nice hotel. We were looking forward to it. We'd never stayed at a kind of a nicer hotel in Las Vegas. And so I'm looking up I'm looking up the reservations to start canceling them, and I realized that I thought my Wynn reservation would be cancelable. I thought I could get a refund for that. Turns out no. So we were supposed to stay for, I don't know, January 1st through 6th. So however many nights that is, 6 or 5. And I guess 5. And so I look it up online to just see if I can, cancel it. And it says, non-modifiable, non-refundable. And I'm like, oh God, because that hotel's like $400 a night. So that was a significant amount of money. So I decided to call them, and I'm not really the person that tries to track down, I don't typically return a workout shirt that I order if it doesn't fit, right? I don't track down every dollar. I probably should, but I don't because I'm lazy and I feel like I don't have time, basically, to mess with stuff like that. But this was it was at least $2,000. So I was like, I need to call them and see if, make sure that there's nothing that they can do. And so I called the Wynn and said, hey, we can't come because my husband had emergency surgery and he's not allowed to fly. And not only, we even considered driving, but he wasn't allowed to drive because he couldn't do, number one, he wouldn't have felt like being in the car because he just had eye surgery and he would have had to be in that position and it would have been a nightmare. But we did consider, should we just, because it was still a few days before we were supposed to leave, so should we just, maybe we could go anyway and drive, but we couldn't drive either because he couldn't go through changes in elevation. That would be detrimental to that gas bubble again. And that's why you can't fly, because you can't have changes in elevation. It'll impact, I guess, the size of the air bubble or something. I don't know. It'll mess it up. So I called the Wynn and explained to them, and actually they were amazing, and I'm really glad I called because she said, okay, well, we'll let you, change it to a different day. And I'm like, okay. I said, all right, but I don't know when I can go yet because I don't know when he's going to be able to fly. Because I had talked to the doctor. I'm like, can I just reschedule this trip for 2 months? And she's like, just wait because sometimes it's a little more than 2 months. And I was like, I can definitely reschedule, but I might have to reschedule again. Also, my calendar at my job, I usually block out 6 months in advance if I'm going to take a vacation because I have trials, I have hearings, I have depositions, I have mediations, and I have all these things that take a lot of time to schedule and involve a lot of parties and are, cost everybody a lot of money. So I don't take vacations on a whim. So it's not like we're just not in a position where we can say, okay, let's just go, let's go to Vegas this weekend. It'll be great. And we'll stay there for 5 nights, we could go for a weekend, but I don't like to travel for, if I'm going to go somewhere, I want to go somewhere for a few days. Vegas is less than typical, but yeah, I don't want to go to Vegas for 2 days when we live in Texas and it takes it's like a 3-hour flight to get there. So anyway, so they decided after speaking to a supervisor, and I just was I was nice, which I'm not always, I'll be honest, but I was nice because I knew that I didn't have any ability to complain, right? They were going to do what they were going to do, and whatever they decided was within their rights to decide. And so she talked to her supervisor and they said, okay, well, we decided we're going to make an exception. We're going to refund your money and you just call us when you're ready to come and we hope everything improves. And I really appreciated that. I thought that was very obviously great customer service. They didn't have to do that. They could have said, I'm so sorry, Erica, but this rate that you got was a special deal. And that's why it's non-refundable and non-modifiable and tough cookies. They could have easily said that and they didn't. So that was great. But, it was weird because I was still Obviously I was worried about my husband and his vision, but I also was like super depressed that we were not going to, for the second year in a row, go on vacation. I really look forward to vacations for a long time. I mean, I'm sure you all do too. I mean, from the moment a vacation is booked, like I'm thinking about it, I'm counting down. You know, I have a stressful job, and I work a lot. Like I work easily 50, 60 hours every week, at least. So having something like that to look forward to really helps. So I was pretty upset about that, but you know, nothing I could do. So then we go and backtracking to this actual surgery, because I kind of skipped over it. We went to the hospital, and it's a hospital that I'd never been to in Fort Worth, and like it was a little weird because they had a security guard, they had a metal detector. These were not things that I'd seen in a hospital, because the doctor told us to go to the ER and we'd get checked in that way. And we did, but like it was just, you saw a lot of humanity in that ER on a Friday night, you know, kind of on the 27th or 28th of December. And so I was, you know, I don't know. You don't feel as confident as maybe you would want to when you walk into a situation like that. Because I'd never been in a situation where I couldn't like research or ask around about doctors before. And I've never actually even had a surgery. My husband has, and he had one probably a year or two ago. But, you know, in that situation, that's for a condition that he has, where he has a tumor in his leg, actually. But so we had spent a lot of time and gotten referrals and were really comfortable with the doctor. And in this situation, you're just like relying on, you know, hopefully this is a good doctor. Hopefully this hospital staff knows what they're doing. Like we didn't vet anyone. So then, you know, they get my husband up into a room and he's changed and ready to go into surgery. We're just waiting for the doctor to come. And she kind of texts the hospital and says, you know, she's on her way. And then the anesthesiologist walks in. And this was so weird. And he says, you know, hey, my husband's name is Joe. He says, hey, Joe, like, you're looking good. Haven't seen you in a while. It looks like you lost weight. We're here today for, which, P.S., we don't know this anesthesiologist. So this is already weird. But I kind of think, and my husband thinks, that he's joking around. Like, maybe he does this as a way to, like, put his patients at ease, which would not put me at ease, sidebar. But anyway, we're just kind of confused. We're, like, smiling, like, okay. And then he goes, so we're here for a bowel obstruction. And my husband's like, no, like, I'm here for an eye surgery. And the anesthesiologist is like, oh, sorry, they gave me the wrong room number. Okay, sorry about that. He's like, yeah, I thought you'd really lost a lot of weight. And so then, you know, I mean, he was really nice, but at the same time, then you're just like, what in the hell? They don't even know they don't even know who they have where. You have no choice. You have to be there. You have to, you know, you're there as an active participant watching, but there's nothing else you can do. So you have to trust people. And that whole situation did not make the trusting part that awesome. I mean, it was a little disconcerting, to say the least. I'm gonna switch to a different color because I don't have a good reach on the other side of this square. So the surgery took 2 hours. And so by the time the surgery started, it was like 9:30 or 10 at night, and no one in this hospital. And they have me go, you know, there's a waiting area, and, oh, let me get this color. And so there's just nobody there. There's like one other person there who's sleeping. If they have a blanket out and they're sleeping on a couch. And I usually go to bed. I mean, I'm filming this at like 6 in the morning. And I usually go to bed at 8 p.m. I mean, I go to bed super early and I get up usually at 4:30. So I am, by 10 p.m., 2 hours past my bedtime, and I am exhausted. But I can't sleep in a hospital while my husband's having eye surgery, so I'm like pacing around. I'm sure that the person that was sleeping, I know that they were annoyed with me because they got up and like moved where they were sleeping at one point. But anyway, they kind of texted you a little bit throughout just saying, okay, like he's in surgery, surgery's going fine. And the surgery took, it was like 11 before they said I could go see him. So I went to see him. Obviously he is out of it because he was under general anesthesia. They talked to him about potentially doing local anesthesia, but the retinal surgeon was like, yeah, I would not want to have a retina surgery and not be under general anesthesia. So that's what I recommend, and that's what my husband was kind of hoping for. I mean, nobody wants to see stuff coming at their eye. I mean, I couldn't fathom that. So he's totally out of it. And we weren't there for very long though after. I mean, I think we left at around 1 in the morning from the hospital and got home. We live normally it'd be like 45 minutes north of Fort Worth. But I don't think it took us as long because I want to say we got home at like 2 in the morning. And then we're trying to navigate, how he's going to try to sleep or whatever, which he really didn't. I mean, he really didn't sleep for like 3 days. So he has since been back to the doctor for a follow-up appointment at which his pressure in his eye was high, which is not great. So he had to get on some special eye drops, which we went back again and the pressure had come down. I mean, and it takes like 2 months. He really has no vision in his left eye at this point. And that's typical. They don't really know, apparently whether you're going to have any additional detachment because of scar tissue for some time. They don't know whether there's a lot they don't know, and there is a high likelihood, and she thinks that he will need to have a cataract surgery as well, because apparently this procedure causes people to need that. So I guess that's a much less significant surgery and with a much quicker recovery time. But yeah, I mean, he's 42. So I mean, it's kind of an early age to be having a cataract surgery. If you're new here, my husband doesn't actually live in Texas full time. He works out of a facility in Kentucky, in northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. And so he's here. He was on vacation from work when this happened, so he had flown back here, and he flies back usually about once a month and stays for 10 days. And so he can't fly back to Kentucky, and he can't fly anywhere for 2 months. He was supposed to go to a work event in January this month, and he can't go there. So I mean, he typically flies 5 times a month, and he cannot do that for some time. And he can't drive back to Kentucky because also he has no car here because his car is in Kentucky. And so I am now the chauffeur. And yeah, I mean, his work's been fine about it, but it's just kind of a nightmare. Kind of a nightmare, not exactly how we, it could be worse. Things can always be worse. We could have decided it was no big deal, not gone anywhere about his vision, and then you go blind in that eye. Hopefully that's not what's going to happen. But it was not the way we had intended to start 2025. So I'm hoping that 2025 only gets better from here. Nothing is promised, of course, but it feels like can't go anywhere but up, right? Again, I hesitate to say things like that because I feel like, yeah, there's always a possibility that other negative things happen. It's always possible, but we'll try to stay positive. So we've just been filling our January thus far, hanging out and going to doctor's appointments for him. I have to go to San Antonio for work in a few days, so my dad, who's been here since Thanksgiving, is actually going back to Indiana in a few days. So we actually fly out on the same morning, which makes it easy. But yeah, so my husband's gonna be here by himself for a couple days, which is fine. He's actually still, he's back to work at this point. He's still working. It's been 2 weeks-ish since he had the surgery. And so he's working remotely on his computer, you know, kind of, I've been calling him One-Eyed Willie. Like, he's working, it's gotta be hard to try to concentrate on a computer screen all day when you can only see out of one eye. That's gotta take some getting used to. But that's what he's been doing, and I guess it's been going okay so far. So I will provide, you know, I'm gonna do, you know, I'll keep y'all updated. Hopefully there's not much news. If things go well, then it's just gonna take 2 months for this bubble to dissipate, and then his vision will come back. So hopefully it'll be not much of a story, but the next time I do a WIP in chat, which I don't do these every month because I don't have enough to talk about. You know, I can't really talk about my job. It's all kind of confidential. I don't live that exciting of a life. So there's just only so much I can talk about. I have been enjoying this canvas. To talk a little bit about diamond painting, I have been enjoying this canvas. It is very confetti heavy. This particular section I'm working on is a little bit more line blocky, but there's been a couple, and I've always gone like directly in order, back and forth on the canvas, and I've had to deviate from that because there is so much confetti in a few of these squares that I need a break from it. And I like confetti, but there's so much in a few of these squares that I've had to take breaks from those confetti heavy squares to kind of just have a moment. So that's been interesting, but I've been in, it's beautiful. It's turning out really well. If you looked at the thumbnail, you'll see I'm kind of about 40% done with it right now. I've been working on it for probably 2-3 weeks. I've been working on it. I work on it at least 2 hours a day, I would say. So it's really, I don't keep specific, like I don't keep a timer, but I usually diamond paint from 4:30 in the morning until like 7. So usually like 2.5 hours. And then if I'm working from home, which I do a few days a week, then I'll usually diamond paint some more for like an hour or so in the evening. So yeah, it adds up to be quite a bit of time, and I've made some good progress, but my God, this thing is taking a while. I've got to do a smaller kit next, and I know I've seen quite a few people work on this. I've seen a few people's finished videos, not a lot. I think Kat, I saw a video where she finished this, if I'm not mistaken, and it turned out like really well. I can tell it's going to turn out really well. The quality of everything has been excellent. I have no complaints. I want to make sure that I stay positive after my Dreamer Design video that I uploaded, where it's a little bit more critical, but you know, it's not meant to be critical, it's just meant to be honest. So But nonetheless, this has really been fun to work on. It is huge. So I am going to need, I haven't decided what kit I'm going to do next. I mean, the flamingo kit that you saw me unbox is in the forefront of my mind of possibilities. I really thought the colors on that one looked cool, but I haven't figured out what specifically exactly I'll do next. But yeah, do y'all do that? Do you like, are you, I mean, I'm only 40% done with this one. I don't know why I'm contemplating what kit I'm gonna do next, because I'm like not even close to being done. But while I'm working on this one, I find myself thinking, oh, what's the next one I'm gonna do? Because if I'm going to reach 15 finishes in 2025, I'm not going to be able to do only canvases that are this size. This one's like, I don't know, it's got to be 100 centimeters wide. It's a big one. So, and I am the kind of person that if I set a goal, like I will kill myself to reach it. And I know that's not normal and it doesn't matter, and diamond painting is supposed to be fun, and it is fun, but for whatever reason, the way that I'm wired, I have to be able to, if I hit a goal, I have to be able to meet it. So that's what I will do. So I need to set myself up so that I can make sure that, like this painting will take me more than a month. So there's no way that I can get through 15 paintings of this size. So that's why Flamingo's not tiny, but I'm considering that one because I was so excited to unbox it. If you saw that video, it's probably like a month ago that I unboxed it, and I really have been thinking about it since. Like, I just love the colors in it. I love the rendering. Everything about it I thought was amazing. So, and just so many different colors of pink. So I'm kind of thinking that one's going to be it. But we will see. You'll have to come back. I'll kit up soon, whichever kit I'm going to work on next. So who knows? That might even be the next video. So anyway, I hope that your 2025, your January, started off better than mine. And I hope that you all are happy, healthy, and that you have a prosperous year. And that's going to be all the rambling from me today. So I appreciate you stopping by. Let me know in the comments how your 2025 is going so far. I really enjoy hearing from you all. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I did get a lot more subscribers recently, so I really appreciate that. Welcome if you're new. I hope you will hang out. Feel free to let me know if there's any particular videos that you're interested in. And I will plan to be here for all of 2025, releasing at least one video a week on Saturdays. All right, that's all for today. Bye.